folks, they tell of their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots. The maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell, of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Street where the loyal drums do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they tell come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with this chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2. Like the Zulus, they had nice bows and arrows. Of how brave you faced one with your 16-pounder gun, and you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Tell how you slammed the brave Parnell and taught him well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Show your wife how you won medals up in Derry. You murdered 16 men and you'll do the same again. So get out of here and take your bloody army. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Oh, come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders.
Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
Do that again. I didn't understand it that time. Take it easy. Yes, Mr. Eiland. Eiland started out in 1932. Eiland started out in 1932. When he started out, he took the home from on the Jew. We're gonna tear Italy down. We're gonna tear Italy down. We're gonna tear Italy down someday. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground. We're gonna bring him to the ground someday. When Italy started up.
Howdy. Oh, Curtis. Lewis? I can't hear you. Okay. Yes, chat. This is live. You're listening to us set up a stream. How are we getting on? We're on with Lewis tonight. There's Curtis as well. Hello, Curtis. He can't hear me. Oh no, he can. He just waved. Get your cock out. Oh, but you didn't need to do it. Jesus. People give me money for this. They shouldn't. Honestly.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Are you gone again?
Hello.
Hello.
We're testing. Can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly clearly. Can you hear me also? I will turn my fan off when we get started, so if it sounds a bit...
Oh, I don't like these earpieces. I've got dodgy ears. Which one's my big ear? That one. Hello, audience, to Kevin's audience.
Oh shit, I'd never even noticed that. You shouldn't have pointed that out.
Yeah, I've got one ear that sticks out more than the other. Look at the camera. There we go.
Yeah. Look, that's peak male performance, mate.
How the that doesn't look fun. Oh, I'm not good with these earpieces. I am not meant for the mainstream.
Oh shit, I forgot to put my fucking... I just realised that I hadn't plugged my sound deck in, so I couldn't press nerd to secretly abuse you without you knowing. But that will be rectified shortly, Chad, don't worry. Anyway, yes.
Hello, thank you for joining us today.
It's not a problem. Albeit I don't have a clear idea of exactly what topics we're covering, or at least not the definition of what we're covering, but just the broad strokes, as it were.
Yeah, like because there's nothing like.
Audio's gone mental.
Oh.
Yeah, you've gone really quiet.
Mental, apparently.
All right.
Sounds like you're in a wind tunnel or something. I can hear Curtis breathing and it's turning me on.
Okay.
I thought you were on Navara.
Me?
No, Curtis.
Oh, you can't hear you right now. Is it thought you were on the line? No. Not tonight, no.
No? Okay.
Can you hear you properly now?
Can you hear me properly now?
No, it's the same issue. I don't know what changed or whatever. It was absolutely fine, and now it sounds like it's fuzzy.
This is fuzzy.
We're going to switch you just onto this now.
Curtis's microphone is called Black Hole, which is also my nickname.
Heyo.
How do I sound now?
Exactly the same. Nothing
Exactly
changed.
the same.
And it's echoey as well, which is a bit weird.
Just a second. This was all working fine actually, apparently, until I turned up. I haven't touched anything. It's the curse of Lewis.
No, it's fine till Curtis turned up.
Yeah, I blame Curtis for everything too.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, apparently. He can hear me, but it just sounds awful.
I'm going to listen on my end, really. So you start speaking.
Hello. But yeah, the stories today.
Yeah, you got really quiet.
There's nothing like specific or anything like that. It's just all kind of like very general stuff. No deep knowledge about anything. I'm talking about some stories, but then just talking about like the wider things related to them. So when I talk about like Farage and the Guardian investigation, I'm just then talking about like how shit the reform are doing and like you know where are they next, yada yada. So no hyper specific today, I don't think. Everything that you'll already know about because you're well kept up with the news.
Jesus Christ! I think I can hear whatever the hell Curtis was doing then in the background. So, like really loud, like you were banging about, and I was like, so the sound is the sound coming from somewhere else?
Oh, hello. My name is Lewis. I'm a pretty little
Transphobic. Anyway, chat, if you want to, you can give either myself, or indeed both myself and Turn Left money. I feel like this is a good time to advertise that.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Sorry, audio. I like that you've put audio problems question mark there. Like this was like it could have been that this is just like experimental microphone jazz. But yeah, we're having significant issues. But we'll get going at some point, maybe.
Hello.
Hello.
How's it sound?
The return
Exactly the
of
same.
Random number.
Also, I can hear background noise through my ear. As if it's like, Kevin, can you just mute 1 second, Kevin? Let's see if I can hear it on yours.
Really confused now.
Did that have any difference?
Did you mute through EV or did you mute from your side?
I muted my microphone, so nothing was coming through to you at all.
Oh, yeah, I can hear
Do
you.
you sound any better?
Do I sound any better now?
A little.
No, nothing.
It's clearer, but I'm still getting the fuzzy sound, which wasn't.
It's clear, yeah.
What's he saying?
No, it's clearer, but you can still hear the fuzzy sound. The thing is, the noise that he can hear, I can hear through this, and it's not coming from anything to do with Kevin either.
Tell Kevin to leave and come back.
I think he heard you. Did you hear that, Kevin?
I did, but I want you to relay the message as informed, please.
Kevin, can you please leave and come back?
Aye, Captain. I am such a wanker. Allow this time, bitches. Let's go.
It was something to do with whatever. Let's come back. How do I sound now, Kevin?
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
When Kevin comes in, it changes it.
But that wouldn't make any sense.
I know, it makes no sense to me.
Just 1 second. I'm gonna mute.
Mute yourself.
No, I was gonna mute Kevin's microphone through EV and see if anything happens. I don't like this bougie mouse that you've bought.
It's Kevin. I've just muted him.
It's me.
Yeah.
What?
You need to sort your mic out, mate.
Do I?
Yeah.
But it was.
Got a really loud. I've just tested muting everyone, and I've muted you, and you're the one that's.
But why would his quality affect my quality?
It's not affecting your quality. It's just overriding your voice.
Oh.
Host control request.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, yeah, I agree. Okay. I genuinely look. It was absolutely fine, and then it started being
No, so
weird.
you speak for me?
Oh. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear each other?
I can hear Kevin just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. The noise has gone for me. How do I sound, Kevin?
loud.
Okay, cool.
So I sound loud.
That's good. I just turned you up. I can tell you about now. It was just Kevin, and right, tell him start speaking.
Oh, that's perfect now. There you go.
It's perfect.
The noise went.
Yeah. So basically, his background was really bad. It was so loud. It was overpowering everyone.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what it was then. It was the fucking my fan. I had it on the high setting. Apologies.
One sec, 2 people are talking to me. What?
Did you want to go now?
The return of the sausage.
I'm going to quickly change it to quarter 2 then.
This is why fully automated luxury communism does not work.
I need a little shiggy before I start. Don't smoke, kids.
Exactly.
Don't just do the 5-minute countdown. No.
Don't smoke cigarettes like a pussy. Take crack. All right.
He said don't smoke. He said don't smoke cigarettes like a pussy. Take crack.
That's the lesson, kids. Anyway. Anyway, thank you for the bits messages there, chat. I must remember I've got to turn you off for the duration of the stream so I can pretend to be a news person.
All right, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're right, lover.
Yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back after this infomercial.
Okay.
Are you right? Are you happy to get started in like 5 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Bye.
Cool.
Yeah, but just not good eyes. Look very good. We should probably get some studio earpieces. What they use on the tele. But I just use my microphone. But when we migrate to wire class,
White boy ass there. Did you see it? Like a washboard. Absolutely no back whatsoever. Tragic. Honestly, I think anyone I've ever interacted with online has the right to stab me up if they ever meet me in person. I think that's probably fair.
It doesn't stay like more.
Honestly, this is like some sort of mystery situation where I'm trying to guess what the various noises mean.
I think I picked up my old line.
Because if they're within microphone earshot of having a cigarette, why did they leave the chair even to have a cigarette? Just why not just smoke at the chair? I whatever. Like, it's not my fucking business. Just, you know. Even that posh woman. Hang on, no. I'm not going to answer your question if you don't say it as it's supposed to be said. Did the person say to me, that posh woman you did a show with? No, they did not. Okay? You will do the direct historical quotation, otherwise I will not engage. That posh, but exactly. You can push it back on me any day, lad. Oh, hello. It might be quite quiet for you, chap, but I can hear all of this crystal clear, and it's. I'm just enjoying it.
It uses like their own CPU, so it compresses everyone no matter how you deploy it. If you use a computer and use your computer to do
Snog, marry, kill Curtis, Lewis, and Ben. That's impossible. That's impossible.
so when I did put it on the computer, it was crisp, like fucking on wicked. It was like
It was wicked. Oh god, he's such millennial trash. God. Oh, that's standard, yo. Okay, that's, well, apparently that he lives on a race car track. Oh yeah, I was out delivering for the Green Party today, chap. I was delivering a local leaflet for the upcoming elections and that. In a nice bit of sunshine, it was beautiful. Civic engagement completed.
Oh, can you close that? Because that's the dodgy fucking balcony windows that I can never close.
Kev, what's happening? Leftism is happening. This is the boring bit of the revolution. Okay? Fact. So anyway, as I was saying, Lewis is caked up to fuck. Oh, he didn't even hear that bit. Fuck. Take the fucking thing out. Oh, finger me.
right then. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
Hello.
Yes.
Oh God, you're very quiet now. Put you up a bit.
You're not.
Speaking, Kev?
You're not Sarah. This is a lie.
Wait, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, all good.
Honestly, lads, if the revolution takes this long to fucking set up, I might not bother. I might just stay home. Fuck it.
Right, we're going live.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Do it live! I need to make sure I'm quiet.
So do you both smoke then?
No, I just encourage them. I'm bad influence.
Fair enough.
Yes, me. Sorry. Just checking everything is ready. Alright. Countdown on.
Oh, 2.5 minutes.
Cool. It's only we only started the countdown quarter of an hour after we were supposed to start. You know, I'm just saying that. Yeah. Like I've got anything better to be doing.
How'd you get it going, Kevin?
Well, now I've muted that, but I must remember to unmute because what happened last time was when you started playing the clip, no one could fucking hear it. Anyway, yes, no, I did very well, thank you. I was out delivering for the Green Party because I am civically engaged. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Kevin. One second. How can I turn Kevin a little bit on my side?
Curtis is like an overly protective dad now. and I like that.
Daddy now and again.
It's kind of beautiful.
But yeah, what we're doing first? We're doing. I don't know. We'll find out in a second. I literally can't even remember what the first story is now, and I wrote it. First story is the guy who quit yesterday in the US. Second story is the family who were killed in the West Bank the weekend. I'll be talking about wider stuff after that. And then it's Farage, Guardian, cameo clips. Have you seen any of them, by the way?
Yeah, I've seen them all. Yeah, and I've been like, I'll save it for the bit, but like I've been watching these cameo bits for fucking years. It's by no means a news story, even if journalists have only just discovered it. The dopey bastards.
Well, apparently they watched all 4,000 and something of them. Took them a while.
Yeah, I imagine so. Big chungus, etc.
But then I'm spinning the Farage story off onto the anti-Semitism Greens thing. I'm just gonna talk about reform basically, generally.
Ari, 10 seconds.
Alright.
Alright, my lover.
Oh, I need to unmute the thing, don't I? Hello and welcome back to Normal Eiland Live. As you'll see, I'm not in my usual place. I have commandeered Curtis's studio. I've moved back to Leeds, so me and Curtis are now in the same city, so you will probably see me a bit more often in this studio. But again, sorry for being a bit late. We were actually ready, but we did have some technical issues, but I will just call it the curse of Lewis. But I am joined today by the wonderful and lovely Kevin Logan. Hello, Kevin.
Hello there, yeah. Is Leeds prepared for the two biggest chads in the universe to live amongst them at the same time? I'm not sure.
Oh, God, the city's already imploding. We honestly, all the cliches about the left just not being properly organised and we just can't do shit is just completely true, really, as well, isn't it? It's just there.
A little bit.
We're not going to have a revolution anytime We're not going to have a revolution anytime soon, I don't think.
No, I imagine not.
Not at all. But let's jump on straight away to today's story. But just remember, you can help us grow by visiting turnleftmedia.co.uk/support to help fund our work and become a YouTube member as well. But just moving on to the first story for today. I'm sure everybody saw this yesterday. The head of the United States National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, resigned from his post on Tuesday over the US-Israel war in Iran, asserting that US President Donald Trump was maneuvered by Israel into attacking the Islamic Republic. So he posted his letter on X, posted it to Trump, and he said that early in the administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. The echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States and that they should strike now, and there was a clear path to a swift victory, he said. Now, it's very important to know that Joe Kent is and always has been a full-blown MAGA guy. He was nominated by Trump in his current role under Trump's loyalist-only agenda and was previously endorsed by Trump when he ran for Congress. He pushed conspiracies about the stolen election, and he also pushed conspiracies about the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. Now, of course, many of the die-hard MAGA loyalists rebuked this, and Trump even said that he was weak on security, even though he nominated him, and said good riddance. Now, many people have accused him of being anti-Semitic in his letter, saying stuff like Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States, and it's clear that we started this war due to the pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Now, Joe Kent is very much in kind of like the Tucker Carlson type of mindset. He's one of those guys. And Joe Kent is actually being interviewed by Tucker Carlson tonight, this evening. I think it was like 6 p.m. Eastern, so it hasn't happened yet. And I will always advise for anyone to be skeptical of anything Tucker Carlson says. There are, two types of people who criticize Israel. There are people who genuinely care about the plight of Palestinians and are critical of the, colonial and apartheid state that Israel is, and those who, continue to support it and ally with the state. Now, then there are those, obviously, who just, hate Jewish people and are genuinely anti-Semitic, and have jumped on the pro-Palestine bandwagon to court new audiences for their beliefs, their agenda, and their continued grift. Now, like Tucker Carlson, of course, and as well as people like Candace Owens, they don't care about Palestinians or Iranians or anyone else. Now, Kevin, just jumping straight into the discussion on this. Obviously, the reason why I brought up the stuff with like, he's a Tucker Carlson guy, I kind of want to discuss about like how much attention we should really be paying to this, because I think obviously two things can be true, right? Tucker Carlson, I won't listen to him, I won't quote him. I think it's important to obviously take into consideration that this guy was a Trump official, right? Yeah. And that he is not just a Tucker Carlson person that I would regularly, quote. I'm quite fed up of seeing people pushing Tucker Carlson content. However, he's a Trump official who quit. So I think two things can be true. He can be the Tucker Carlson type, right, who is kind of like anti-Semitic and who just hates Jews. And let's be honest, that's who Tucker Carlson is, even though he's kind of like playing to a newer audience where he's being, coming across as more moderated and stuff like that. But also at the same time, some of the things that they do say are the truth, because that's how they do their grift, right? They mix the truth with lies. Some of the things that Joe Kent has said, definitely, looking at his past, definitely anti-Semitic. He does buy into the Tucker Carlson kind of Candace Owens kind of rhetoric. But at the same time, he's only saying what we already know, right? That, Marco Rubio slipped up and said, what was the exact quote? It was like, Israel dragged us into this war. They were going to do it anyway. We've got stories of Lindsey Graham, coaching Netanyahu on how to manipulate Trump into going to attack Iran. So from here, by the way, is Kevin here, by the way?
Yeah, I'm here. I was waiting for you to...
Oh, he's not. Oh, sorry. It's not popped up on my screen. Is this split screen?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, sorry. New setup. Hi. I couldn't see you on my screen, so I just kept talking.
No, that's fair enough. No, I was just going to wait for you to finish, but yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Go.
Yes. So I think two things can be sort of true at once, right? Joe Kent, I think, is undoubtedly, to an extent, an anti-Semite. He, like you say, he's a friend and fellow traveller of Tucker Carlson. He's engaged in the same kind of conspiratorial agenda as various of those people on the kind of MAGA right. And so, he probably is an anti-Semite. But I don't think it's actually the anti-Semitism that has inspired this particular move, albeit that I'm sure it probably didn't hold him back any. I think he's one of the strange, stupid, useful idiots that genuinely believed Trump when he tried to posture as the anti-war candidate, as the guy that was going to stop America's forever wars, even though he literally tried to start several wars during his first term in office and used more drone strikes in 4 years than the drone king Obama did in 8. So, that's a pretty big symbol that maybe Trump wasn't the anti-war guy that, many of the people on the right thought he might be. And so I think that's where Kent is coming from on this particular angle. But like you say, he is an anti-Semite, and he plays into a narrative here that Israel want to push, that anyone who criticises either Israel more broadly or Israel's engagement in this war and its obvious direct pulling of America and by proxy the rest of the world into this horrific war, the people who criticise that are anti-Semites. That's the thing they want to push out there. And having dickheads like Kent be a kind of, a public face of opposition to this doesn't help in that cause in the slightest. But ultimately, what he's saying is absolutely true. Regardless of whether he himself is an anti-Semite or not, what he's saying here is true. Israel did deliberately coax a very stupid, mentally dilapidated old man into doing a war. A thing that Benjamin Netanyahu has been desperately trying to do for decades and decades. And even the, series of fridge temperature IQ people that the presidents that the American people have voted for over that time, people like Bill Clinton and George W. Bush and, Barack Obama wasn't stupid, but he was certainly a hawk, and Joe Biden and now Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the only one that seems to have completely fallen hook, line and sinker for the entire thing. Because Donald Trump doesn't really have principles as such. He has self-interest and reacts to things, because that's all he's capable of. And you can see this from the fact that now that things have gone so badly, he now appears to be doing this weird, almost schizophrenic act of like a drunk man who can't come to terms with an ex who's left him, where he's going 1 second, oh, come back to me, we need your help, you know we're good together, baby, and then the next second he's like, oh, fuck off then, you bitch. I never loved you in the first place. Because he's never faced any hardship in his entire life. So all he's dealt with is just the easy road, and now he's getting a slight bit of pushback. He's having a meltdown and crumbling before our eyes. It's a fascinating thing to see. And ultimately, the entire winner of all of this is Benjamin Netanyahu, because he got the war he's been trying to provoke since 1982 or something ridiculous like that. He's been literally saying that Iran is on the verge of getting a nuclear weapon for the last 40 bloody years. So all of a sudden, Benny from Philadelphia, as we should all call him, because he's not really Israeli at all, he's from America, has got the war he wanted. And ultimately, as we told him it would happen, it's not going to end up so well, because they can shut down the Straits of Hormuz and cripple you financially, and there's nothing you can really do about it, because if you go into their boots on the ground, it's going to be Vietnam times 10, because it's all mountains and it's all deserts, and the people aren't going to just accept you. So, I mean, this is the mess you're dealt with, to the point where literally we now know that the Americans didn't even war game the Straits of Hormuz at all before doing this war. The thing that I could have told you, any simpleton could have told you, was going to be the choke point that they would attack and shut down to financially cripple their opponent here, is the very thing that they didn't even perceive would be a thing they needed to plan for, and are now having to desperately ask allies, whilst also verbally abusing those allies, for assistance.
I think that also as well, almost the story of, like, you know, because people are responding to this in so many ways, of like, this is proof of everything, but then some people are obviously saying, you know, he's anti-Semitic. And again, I think it is that two things can be true. I think what's interesting about this is that the story kind of tells itself. Like, when people talk about, and I love talking about this, because people will just go straight to the whole, you know, Israel controls everything, the Jews control everything, but the story tells itself. You said it yourself. They've been trying to do this for decades, and they have only finally, after decades of lobbying and doing different maneuvers, you know, obviously funding different people, different groups, manipulating in lots of different ways. A small group of people, obviously the Israeli elite, obviously mainly Benjamin Netanyahu and people who support them, they finally managed to convince somebody to do this. But I think that kind of tells the story itself. They're not like these type of people who can just click their fingers and get what they want. You know, I don't know if you've been following this, because it hasn't been that much reported in like Western media, but do you know that Trump's been calling up Israeli media like once a week, and like attacking President Herzog, trying to get him to pardon Benjamin Netanyahu. He called up just a few days ago. He called up last week. And I always use this story as an example of, like, when we're talking about this topic of the influence of like Israel and those who support them, is that, you know, if they were so powerful, Benjamin Netanyahu can't even get out of his own trial, that he's got a deluded, deranged old man being manipulated into ringing up literally Channel 12 in Israel saying, oh, pardon Netanyahu now, because he can't get out of his trial, and he's trying to do everything that he's pulled every card that he possibly can. He's tried to pass laws in the Knesset. He's got the president in the US bullying the president of Israel. Yeah. He's you know, he's continuing to try and stay in power so he can, you know, try and obfuscate away from this you know, justice that's been brought against him for his corruption and bribery. Well, and yeah, sorry, go on.
Ironically, in a kind of 5D chess way, this might be the best thing that Trump could do, bizarrely. Now, Trump isn't actually doing this because he thinks it's good. He's doing it because he has a corrupt leader who he sees, like, it's game recognising game. It's a corrupt, warmongering, genocidal freak trying to help out another one, right? You scratch my back, I scratch yours type deal. But actually, like you say, if you sort of game this process out for a second, the only reason that Benjamin Netanyahu consistently wants to keep doing these things in the most overt and silly way possible is because the war needs to be extreme so that he can remain in power. So, and the reason he wants to stay in power is because he's facing trial as soon as he is not in power anymore. So if Trump could somehow bully Herzog into pardoning Netanyahu, it might actually allow Netanyahu to stop doing these things and step down, and knowing that he won't face trial, which would be bad because he should face trial, but ultimately will mean fewer people need to die on the altar of this man's freedom.
I'm laughing because it's just so ridiculous, because like that could be it. It's so fucking ridiculous.
The only way we get peace in the Middle East is if we just allow Netanyahu to retire That's the only thing that might work.
He's in his 70s now, so he's not got long left.
Well, look, all I'm saying is, Grim Reaper, hurry the fuck up, mate. What are you doing?
Well, everybody still thinks he's dead, so been following that story. No, but I do think the whole conversation is like really interesting around this, because people obviously hyper focus on Israel and its actions, and I'm actually kind of fed up of people just saying, oh, like America's only done this to hide away from the Epstein files and distract us, or they're only doing this simply just because Israel finally tricked them into doing it or lobbying. But it's like, no, like America's been doing this for a long time without any involvement of Israel in any way.
Well, I think there has been a fundamental change, though. I think it used to be that America was the dog that would wag the tail, and I think it's the other way around now. It used to be that Biden or Trump, Trump in his first term to a degree, or either of the Bushes or even Reagan, I suppose, would allow Israel to get away with what it would get away with, on the understanding that America held the reins. So if at any point it needed to drag them back, it could. And occasionally, Reagan chastised former Israeli leadership and all the rest of it. Like, it did used to happen. The Americans could criticise Israel. It was amazing. Imagine that, an American president criticising the genocidal state. Anyway, it used to be that America controlled Israel, and unfortunately now it appears that Benjamin Netanyahu has got such a control over the Trump White House especially, but he had a fair control over the Biden White House as well, let's be honest, that essentially Israel controls, in this one area, it's not some big Zog conspiracy bullshit, it's just in terms of giving itself a blank check to do what it likes in its region of the world, it essentially wags the dog now.
Yeah, it's the same with the Marco Rubio story, right? Where he basically admitted that they had to go to war because they got dragged into it by Israel. And then again, I think people need to read that story properly. It's not a case of, like Israel made them do it in the sense of they said, you're doing this. It's a case of they've essentially used their position that they've developed with America over all these years to say you have to come with us, because if you don't, then you're just going to look stupid. You're going to we're not maybe going to be able to do this by ourselves. So if we do it, we're going to get weakened. It's essentially they've played a game. It's not a case of they're in charge. Like they've played a game. And Netanyahu, he is a mastermind. There's no reason why anybody shouldn't say that. He's lasted in power since the 90s, and he's an excellent communicator. And that should be acknowledged. He is brilliant at this.
Yeah, absolutely. He's outlasted. How many American presidents now? And
is there even any other leader who's in a I have to use the word democracy because they technically still have it, despite the fact that it's a flawed democracy, but they still have elections. Is there any other leader who's survived this long in an actual democratic country?
Not that I can think of.
I can't think of a single person.
Not that I can think of. Although again, they have elections, but Robert Mugabe had elections. It's having an election into itself.
Some people can vote. That's all we can say.
Some
people can vote.
Why, indeed, yes, a very limited democracy indeed. But either way, yes, he has survived. He's survived a very long time in the cutthroat world of politics, and literally, given Israel was founded by terrorists, of course, looking to the Stern Gang and such, quite literally the cutthroat world of Israeli politics. He is, in a Machiavellian sense, quite a brilliant politician. But unfortunately, he uses the power that he gains from this for the most disreputable ends on earth, which is genocide, of course. It's sort of pathetic in a way, albeit quite funny and dark and sadistic in another, that the American empire now has become so pathetically cucked to Israel that you have the Secretary of State saying, well, Israel dragged us into this war, rather than America dragging other people into war, as happened even as recently as 20 years ago, in the bordering nation of Iraq. And you have Lindsey Graham, who, by the way, have you ever heard Lindsey Graham ever talk about South Carolina? I don't think I ever have. He is too busy sucking Israel's dick all the time. It's embarrassing to
see that clip from a few weeks ago where somebody went up to him in Congress and recorded him and said, "Hey, Lindsey, when are you going to come out as gay so people can stop blackmailing you?"
Well, he is a pretty obvious closet case, but that's sort of sad if that's the reason he's doing this. albeit that it would be arguably worse if he genuinely believed any of this stuff. But look, he literally said, America will stay in this war as long as Benjamin Netanyahu says so. And how can I, dare I ask this question without being accused of anti-Semitism, how is it not espionage and or treachery to coach the leader of a foreign country to manipulate the leader of your country into going to war?
Yeah, I suppose. But at the same time, the article from the Washington Post, I think, who quoted that from him, he also talked about like how he's trying to do the same thing for Cuba. So I guess you can, spin it in the sense of it's not even just necessarily even about Israel itself. It's just about the warmongering, colonial, imperial state of the US that Lindsay is pushing, and he's pushed in all different places in the world, and some that are not even to do with Israel. I think he is just that person.
True. But it's. I mean, anyone who genuinely believed the America first line was just mad. Like, he made it very obvious the entire time he was Israel first.
Yeah. Oh, can I actually, though, before we move on to story 2, though, I want to bring this to the UK for a second. Like, obviously, there's that story out there where, like, Starmer got, overridden by his cabinet, but ultimately our government is not involved in the way the Americans would like. We are still technically involved, but they're being perceived by the general public as to not be involved, and they've said no to Trump and so have lots of other people. Do you think, like, this story coming out and more of them coming out, showing that basically the US wasn't ready? You mentioned, obviously, they didn't even gamify the Strait of Hormuz type of situation, that Starmer's going to get even more vindicated?
Annoyingly, he probably will be vindicated, not because he hasn't gotten involved, because he has got involved. We literally have planes loading bombs in Gloucestershire right now to be dropped on the Iranian people, as well as, of course, continuing to fly flights from RAF Akrotiri to allow the genocide in Gaza as well. So, we are absolutely involved in all of this. It's just he's managed to present it as us not being involved in all of this because it's all very don't believe your eyes type stuff. So he'll probably will be vindicated in that respect. But I think the kind of wider context of this for British politics is the sort of fascinating speed run of Iraq that has happened here. The same people who warmongered and desperately bayed for the blood of the Iraqi people, the freedom of the Iraqi people. It took years for them to eventually realise their mistake and come out and, in some cases, actually apologise and go back and recant their previous support of the Iraq War. But either way, to have backtracked on that support. Whereas Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch and various other people who were desperately bomb Iran all but 2 weeks ago are now out here criticising Trump for criticising the Prime Minister. Which is just a bizarre, like, how quickly they've speedrun the whole thing. They've condensed what was previously 5 years of regret into 2 weeks. And it's been sort of fascinating to see how abysmally poorly this war has gone.
Yeah, and now it's been constantly weaponized against them because that's the game of politics. But let's quickly move on to the next story. The theme is the same. It's a story about Israel right now. Obviously, we are, continuing to see this, the fallout from what's happened. So it's a very kind of Israel-aligned, focused show today with me. But you may have already seen this story. It was widely covered, to my surprise, because these types of stories have happened a lot and they barely make it out of Israeli media. But at the weekend, Israeli forces opened fire on a car in the West Bank in the town of Tamum, killing both parents and 2 of 4 children who were in the car. Now, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, those killed were Ali Khalid Bani Oda, who was 37, his wife Wad Othman Bani Oda, who was 35, and their sons Mohammed, who was 5, and Othman, who is 7, who was reported to be blind and special needs. And just a little side note as well, I saw some commentary saying that the name Othman actually means little bird, which just makes everything all much more sad with the story. Now, 2 of the children, Khalid, 11, and Mustafa, 8, actually survived, but they were injured by shrapnel. Now, the family had been returning home from Nablus after shopping for stuff related to Eid. They were getting stuff ready for the end of Ramadan. Now, witnesses say that the Israeli forces, who were an undercover unit at the time, were using a vehicle with Palestinian license plates. They stopped the car and opened fire. Because the unit was operating covertly, the family would have no way of knowing that they were Israeli forces in any way. Now, the Israeli military claims that the car accelerated towards the soldiers, prompting them to shoot. Now, relatives strongly obviously rejected this, saying, it's completely implausible that a father traveling with his wife and 4 children would do anything like this. Now, Khalid, who's aged 11, excuse me, Khalid, who was aged 11, who survived, said that, after his parents were literally killed in front of him, along with 2 of his siblings, he was then pulled from the vehicle. He was beaten and accused of lying about who was in the car. An official investigation has, of course, been opened, but that will likely just now go nowhere. The New York Times, surprisingly, despite many complaints of their coverage, have actually put together an extensive article, which go and read it, please, because it's quite the investigation, and a video about the tragedy.
أنا تصاوبت 30 أنا وشذي في راسي أبوي وأمي وأخوتي الاثنين استشهدوا ما ظلش إلا أنا وأخوي خالد.
أخذنا على أماكن كثير بنابلس واشترى لنا فشافيش وكرب. أمي قبل ما تموت صيحت صوت يا أبوي قال الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. هذا هو اسمه.
God, need a second. As the world has obviously turned its attention away from Gaza and from the West Bank, and there's a part of that I can use the word understandably, in a way, because of the chaos that's just been caused everywhere else. This is what is still continuing to happen, as the Knesset and the Israeli parliament continues to push towards full-blown annexation of the West Bank and continues to destroy Palestinian towns and villages and continues to construct new settlements. Now, everybody is, everybody is fearing what has happened to Gaza is going to happen to Lebanon. The Israeli military announcing today it will continue to blow up bridges on the Litani River, which is coincidentally the biblical border of Israel that many Israelis believe is their territory. I think we also had that comment as well, which I didn't get up for the story, which was, I believe it was Israel Katz specifically saying that he will turn Lebanon into Gaza when threatening Hezbollah. Kevin, the reason I chose this story today is not just to tell the story specifically. I just wanted to bring up, obviously, that this is still continuing, this is still going on, but almost a part of the story that I want to talk about is like, where do we even look right now? Because obviously Gaza is still going on. Hundreds have died since the ceasefire, which isn't a ceasefire. We've got obviously continuation and an escalation of stories like this in the West Bank. Now we've got Lebanon, we've got obviously Iran, we've got Afghanistan and Pakistan apparently fighting each other. We've got just shit kicking off literally everywhere. I just don't know where to focus, but like, what are your thoughts on like this story and what's happening everywhere right now?
Firstly, you needn't explain or apologise in any way whatsoever for bringing this story up. To quote the great Rosa Luxemburg, the most revolutionary thing one can do is to point out the thing that is actually happening. It's heartbreaking, genuinely physically painful to watch and see those images, and my heart goes out to both the 2 survivors and of course to those who were killed in this. This is such a commonplace occurrence, and we all know that nothing will happen because of it, because the world ultimately doesn't see Palestinians as human beings, which is grotesque white supremacist evil, of course. That I just sort of wanted to point out a thing, and I have to be very careful, I think, about how I word this as to avoid prosecution. But the argument was made during the Iraq War and has been made in virtually every quote-unquote counterinsurgency movement of all time, that to act in the most brutal and horrific crackdown sort of way towards a populace doesn't actually in the long term work, because you create further soldiers in place, which of course Israel is fully aware of. It needs the Hamas or PLO or whoever to exist in order for there to be a reason for them to continue to bomb, of course. But ultimately, if those 2 children that did survive, and I hope they have a great life and go on to great things. But if those 2 kids decide to take up arms against Israel, I don't think you can realistically morally judge them for that. I really don't. I think it's perfectly understandable, and I think virtually every human being would have that thought cross their mind if in that same situation you saw your family obliterated in front of you and you were beaten by the people who had just killed your family, that you may seek retribution against those people. Israel makes the terrorists it needs in order to further the Greater Israel project. And that's what we're seeing, as you saw with as you mentioned there, with the land they're going to steal in Lebanon. The Greater Israel project is the thing that people need to focus on, because that's ultimately the driving force behind all of this. None of this, we need a safe place for Jewish people to live, because of course, as October the 7th showed, Israel is not a safe place for Jewish people to live. The Israeli government have no interest in protecting Jewish people. They have an interest in political Zionism. That is what they're going to try and do. That is why they have consistently fought wars and bombed and attacked all of their neighbours. The hypocrisy, the disgusting, rank hypocrisy for the Israeli government and the American government to criticise the Iranian government for not following international law, when Israel is the country with the single largest number of UN resolutions against its fucking name. A nation that wants to stop Iran from getting a nuclear bomb that it's nowhere near getting, even though it itself has a massive nuclear stockpile that not a single International Atomic Energy Agency official has ever been allowed to visit a single Israeli nuclear facility. I can't help but feel complete and utter contempt for any person who holds any truck with the Israeli government or its actions in the last, let's say, 3 years, but ironically, further to that, the last 80 years. But especially since October the 7th, it has acted in the most reprehensible way at every possible turn, up to and including the murder of a family just going to buy some fucking food.
Good speech. Yeah, I'm literally still thinking about the family. I'm almost like distracted by it. The story just really got to me. But it comes back to as well, like I don't even currently know where to look, and it's almost like part of that like flooding the zone kind of tactic in a way that obviously I don't think anybody you can say that like everything that's happening in the world right now is part of one concerted campaign, even though some people do think that. It's almost like I struggle to even focus on where to focus the attention right now, just because there is so much going on. You know, we've already got people saying
that's the point. Look, I mean, no, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned that this wasn't about distracting from Epstein, but in a way it kind of is. Not solely, but the whole point of the, like you say, flooding the zone tactic is that you make it impossible for any one thing to ever stick. So, like, we're not even talking about the fact that they still have the president of Venezuela just locked up in New York City. That's just a thing as a world, we've just now accepted that that's a normal thing that a country can just do. You can just abduct the president and his wife and then arrest them under American law for crimes that they supposedly committed in Caracas. Okay, I'm not sure how that fucking works in the slightest. It's to distract from that. It's to distract from the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. The fact that we know the President of the United States raped many children. That's just a thing that, you know, is difficult to focus on because they're also murdering people in Iran. They're murdering people in the West Bank. They're murdering people in Gaza. The fact that, like you say, it's not even being mentioned that the President of the United States is ringing up Israeli media to put pressure on the President of Israel to pardon the Prime Minister of Israel for his obvious corruption. That's not even a story that even makes the top 10. And that's the point. You put so much shit in there that it's impossible to focus on. And that's the whole, that's what you do. So you start, rather than start one war that people can focus on, you start a dozen that people can't focus on. And the American media and the world media have not wised up to this in the slightest. Because ultimately, Donald Trump is not a threat to the thing they care about, which is the hegemonic power of America and, by extension, the capital of those who run America.
Well, you know, I'll finish this actually a little segment off by telling you of another somewhat related story, but I wouldn't even say it's like a hopeful story, but it's a story to kind of show that there are people out there who haven't given in to that anger that you talked about, that it would be completely understandable if these kids grew up and turned into people who want to carry out what people would call terrorist acts, or, you know, join a militant group. But there was another story in Israeli media yesterday where somebody actually got justice from a settler, which is very rare. So Yaqub Rabi is a Palestinian man who lived in the West Bank. His wife was killed in 2018 by a 16-year-old Israeli settler, right? And he dropped a rock off of a bridge in the West Bank as Yaqub, his wife Aisha, and the daughter, her name was Salam, was coming back from a dental appointment. They dropped the rock, went straight through the car, and instantly killed her. That was 2018. It took the Israeli government 2 years to declare that this was an act of terror after lots of campaigning. Very, very rare that that happens alone. But they used a loophole. Usually people who are victims of terrorist attacks, as Israel defines them, in Israel get a form of compensation from a fund, because Aisha was a Palestinian and not an Israeli citizen. They declared it a terror attack, but they refused to declare her a victim of terror and refused to compensate the family. Now it's 2026. Yesterday in the courtroom, that young boy, who is now a man, he's a young man, he's unnamed still, was found guilty. And that's a very rare occurrence. But the reason why this story is actually quite special and it really stood out to me is because Yaqub, as he was walking out of the courtroom yesterday, he got cursed at by the family. He had a campaign against him by many Israeli officials for his wife being killed by an Israeli settler, which is enabled by the Israeli state. He walked out and said to the media, "I don't want to see that boy in prison. I want to see him in education." He said that he wanted to see for all children what he wants for his own children, which is all of them to get a good education, and all of them have. They've all gone to university. They've had grandkids now. He's got 4 grandkids, actually, that his wife Aisha will obviously never get to meet because she's dead. But when you actually read into this guy, and I would really recommend anybody go read into him, his name is Yaqub Rabi, just one more time. He has been just working on trying to find some sort of peace, is like the easiest word to say it. Not a peace as in like a 2-state solution or a 1-state, whatever it might be. Just he wants everybody to essentially work together to work on some sort of brighter future. And despite the fact that the Israeli state denied him compensation, refused to say that his wife was a victim of a terror attack for years, despite the fact that this took 8 years for a very clear-cut case of a kid killing somebody, it still took 8 years to get justice. And despite all of that, he still walked out yesterday in front of the media and said that I want these kids to get an education, because he understands that these kids this young guy came from a very extreme Israeli settler background. They're obviously all extreme, but this one in particular was from a particular sect who gets brought up in a private religious education, and they are just rabidly violent people. They are, and there's just no denying it. And despite all of that, he still came out and said this story. And I think it's almost like, I won't even use the word nice, but it's just almost like a deep propaganda of the idea of how the world sees Palestinians, that we know that they get radicalized by the state of Israel, and they are sold to the world by many people as these, like, you know, Muslim Islamic extremists who want to kill all Jews. And you've got this guy who is just like, he named all of his children after different translations of peace. Like that's who this guy is. And I just thought it was a really interesting story.
Yeah, it's humbling, the strength and inner peace that some people possess and are able to muster to themselves. I recall from my childhood the story of a man who had held the essentially mangled remains of his son in his arms as he died during the Omar bombing back in the late 90s, and retelling that story. And he was asked if the person who planted that bomb were here, what would you say to them? And he said, I would forgive them. He said, hate only begets hate, and I won't give in to that. And that is a level of peace and inner strength that I don't possess and that I don't understand, but I'm glad exists in the world.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think it's a story. I would never want to push this story as the idea of like, oh, everybody should be like this, because we all know resistance and violence is sometimes necessary, and we advocate for it all the time, but only when it suits our country's agenda. But I just wanted to share the story just because I think it's really nice. I'd recommend looking up Yuki Rabbi. He's done some great work. It's a really interesting story from start to finish. And I just kind of want to leave it there just with that story. And we will move on to the next one. But before we move on, it's 2026, and we really want this year to be a big one for Turn Left. We want to be more ambitious than last year, and you know, we really want to be on the map. And we would like 2026 to be the year where we can have a studio and for our contributors to be paid for the work that we do. But we'll always be here anyway. Your support over the years has been obviously amazing, and I love just seeing all you guys in the comments. Like, you guys probably noticed that every time I'm looking at the camera, I'm actually really looking over here at the comments and just reading them all, because I just get so distracted by seeing the regulars and the new people. But obviously your support over the years has been wonderful, and we're ready to try and take this to the next level, and we rely on small donations. So if you want to be a part of the media organization that seeks to destroy the oligarchs, and then please, actually, I want to replace that, by the way. Can we replace that with like the Epstein class? Even though I have problems with that word, but anyway, then please head over to the to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There you can support us monthly on Patreon, or there is another link for a one-time contribution. You can also support us by becoming a YouTube member for 99p. Thank you. And sorry, my screen just froze. Oh, okay, it's working again. Sorry guys, tech issues. We need that. We need that support. But let's quickly go on to the final story. I'm sure everybody saw this yesterday. If not, buckle in. A Guardian investigation has revealed that Nigel Farage has recorded thousands of paid-for cameo videos that included the support for, guess who? The far right and far right figures, including slogans and even a neo-Nazi linked event. Let's just take a quick look at the Guardian video.
They include videos in which the leader of Reform UK repeats a far-right slogan. Remember, if in doubt, kick him out. Was misogynistic.
If you're simpering for Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez's big naturals.
And refers to anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
It could be the Masons, some think it's the Rothschilds, maybe it's just... Road Rage Terror Tour is the best thing that ever happened.
That's just a few of the videos. I actually spoke to Kevin earlier about this before the show, and he's been watching some of these videos for years. So it's actually nothing new. It's just the fact that somebody's finally kind of collated them all and put them into a big tracker where you can basically see most of them. You can see a lot of the quotes, and just kind of broken down how much he's earned off of this, which the investigation found that Farage has earned at least, they think, £374,000 from Cameo since 2021, creating over 4,000 videos. They went through all 4,000 of them. Imagine if this was Corbyn or Polanski pushing anything like this at all, even something which could be and might be interpreted as something that's like anti-Semitic or anything that could be borderline offensive. This would be front page Telegraph, GB News. It would be everywhere all the time. Remember, you know, Camilla Tominey, like, she would never lift her foot off Corbyn when it came to anti-Semitism, but she's the one who wrote an article quite a few weeks ago, maybe about a month or so ago, saying that, you know, everybody should stop paying attention to these accusations of Farage and anti-Semitism in school. Same people. But, you know, in one video, part of the script was to say, P.S. support the National Front. In another video he made for a fan, the message said that the video was a man's birthday who was a massive UKIP supporter, loved GB News, but hated the gypsies. Classic. But again, just keeping on the reform theme, because I don't just want to focus on this story. In other news, Richard Tice is trying to deflect away from his £600,000 tax dodging story by calling the Greens anti-Semitic. You know, he posted this earlier on his X account saying, anti-Semitism is rife in the Greens. They are voting whether to allow continuation of anti-Semitic behaviour by some NHS staff. Now, with the link in the post, which linked to a Telegraph article, which explains that the Greens will simply allow the NHS to express their support for Gaza, as many staff were able to do for Gaza, even for Israeli hostages too. People were allowed to, you know, wear those pins. It's the symbols that people wear, which was recently banned by this government, actually. No one is advocating for a nurse or a doctor to be able to openly discuss the Israel-Gaza issues, with patients at hospitals. We're talking about like people wearing pins, which again, by the way, there have literally been NHS-sponsored campaigns to support Ukrainians. Again, obviously, I think, and I'd like to hope that still many people support, Ukrainians' right to self-determination, but it's still technically within the same boundary of a political, I hate using the word conflict, but conflict, because it kind of reduces it down to something that it's not. It's bigger than that, but you get what I mean, right? Now, there are many accounts of genuine anti-Semitism. We've got, we got like 100 and something registered 1,000 doctors in this country. Of course, some of them will be anti-Semitic, but, many are completely dubious when it comes to a lot of complaints of anti-Semitism. We know this. We've gone through these stories. I have no problem saying that. In the same article by The Telegraph, they even quote that 84% of complaints about doctors were closed at the triage stage, meaning that they didn't even meet the threshold for investigation. And it reminds me as well of like the UK Lawyers for Israel story from like a couple of years ago, where, if you remember, they are a group of lawyers who are the UK Lawyers for Israel. It is what it is on the tin. They basically bring legal cases to organizations, individuals, and institutions to help the state of Israel because they love it and believe in it so much. And by the way, I read this the other day, haven't confirmed it though, that apparently Camilla Tominey's father, maybe Kevin knows about this, is actually one of the guys or one of the heads of the UK Lawyers for Israel. They got Palestinian paintings taken down from an NHS hospital. It was artwork by Gazan children. And they got it taken down because the UK Lawyers for Israel sent them a threatening legal warning saying that people were complaining and people felt threatened by it. And then Declassified, Support Independent Media, did a Freedom of Information request which proved there were actually no complaints. There were no complaints. And this is the problem, because when it comes to anti-Semitism, it's something that we should all take seriously. And it's a hard thing to balance when, you've got stories like, we know that the Jews don't control the media. It's stupid, it's ridiculous. But when you've got Benjamin Netanyahu on trial in Israel for trying to influence media in Israel, it's hard to have these conversations sometimes because you can so easily be accused of being anti-Semitic. But at the same time, we need to point out when anti-Semitism is absolutely being weaponized, and it constantly is. And then it almost downplays actual genuine anti-Semitism, which we should all be, fighting against actively. Kevin, I kind of want to, you can start wherever you want, but I kind of want to shape this conversation as well around kind of like reform, getting kind of a bit desperate and losing. More stories keep coming out about Nigel Farage, everything from his donors, everything that he's getting a lot of shit from with Iran, to just everything that's going on with the Reform Party. Are they getting a bit desperate? Their polling numbers are coming down. Where do you want to start with this? I'll let you go.
I think it's part of a great noticing that the media are currently engaging in with the Reform Party and with Nigel Farage specifically. That they have been his stenographers, they have been his amplifiers for so many years. They've been doing the job of making firstly UKIP and then Reform UK into a political juggernaut, which is why it shot up in the polls so much. And it's only now that the people are actually starting to look into this, that the media are starting to do even a semblance of the job they should have been doing for the last 25 years with Mr. Farage, that they're starting to notice things that I noticed years ago, because as you mentioned, we talked about beforehand, I've been watching his cameos for years, because many of them are harmless, silly nonsense. People will pay money to, and I don't know why you would give him money, but whatever, to say absurd things like, big chungus and what was the phrase? I clap my cheeks and my bussy does a cartwheel until it claps, or something like that. And it's just absurd nonsense, right? Amazing absurdity. But within that, they've always been a set of people trying to trick him to say dumb shit, right? Including saying up the Ra, referencing the Irish Republican Army, which is a prescribed terrorist group here in the UK, of course. And, of course, wishing happy birthday to Gerry Adams, the former leader of Sinn Féin, etc., etc.
Don't forget our favourite singer from our favourite band.
Oh yes, Mr. Ian Watkins. May you rest in piss, my man. Yes, just amazing.
Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, absolutely fine. Yeah, so he's been doing this for a long time. And like you say, echoing far-right talking points constantly. Because he's more than happy to do so, because he's a far-right person. He tries to hide his power levels, but on Cameo, he's being paid to drop the veil just a little bit under the potentially plausible deniability that I didn't know what that phrase meant. I'm just saying a script. It's nonsense. If you want to be Prime Minister, you should have some semblance of, I don't know, sense about you, hopefully. That would be a reasonable request. And so they're starting to notice things like that, and things like his associations with the Conservative Party, which means he's not really a populist in any respect whatsoever, and the fact that they've taken on so many Tories means that a lot of people aren't going to vote for them that would have otherwise previously done so, and so they are starting to see a drop off in their numbers. Pardon me. And so one thing you're going to start to see is more of this kind of attack line that you see from Richard Tice about the Green Party being anti-Semitic, or Keir Starmer's thing about, was it high on drugs, soft on Putin, which is pretty incredible. This kind of like desperate flailing attack against an actually populist party or an actual threat to the established order. Because Reform aren't that, and it's about time that people realised it, and the media are beginning to, which is good.
It seems like they're getting squeezed out a little bit because we still don't know the full effects of Rupert Lowe. He's obviously over-egging himself, but he will have some effect, I think, because, that environment on X, there is a massive population of the crazy right-wingers on X who absolutely think Reform are too liberal and too left and think Rupert Lowe is the answer. We haven't seen any actual genuine polling which shows if they're going to have any effect at all, but even a couple of points could have an effect.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think there'll be a remotely plausible political party going forward, but like you say, if they take 1 or 2 percentage points off in a first-past-the-post system, that could cost them 30 seats.
Yeah, and then you've obviously got I can't even remember his name because they're so irrelevant, but the, Kemi Badenoch's Shadow Justice Secretary today in PMQ's being, scolded for his comments about, I can't even remember exactly what he said. Do you remember, Kevin, with the comments about Muslims praying in London or something like they're showing signs of domination?
Yeah, they wanted, exactly, yeah. For those who don't know, Trafalgar Square, big place in central London, they held a big sort of prayer thing. The mayor of London, who is himself a Muslim, and they just prayed. They used an open public space to have a prayer, and then they left, and everyone was fine. Nothing really bad happened at all. But this was apparently domination. This was domination, apparently. I'm not sure how that works exactly. They're not turning it into the Kaaba. They had one prayer in a thing during a religious festival. It's not as if the rest of the area was shut down or anything. It's such a bizarre and racist notion. And like you say, the Shadow Justice Secretary, or Justice Minister, whatever, Shadow. Was.
Do you remember his name? I don't. It's so irrelevant.
I'm going to call him Twatty McTwatface. I don't know his fucking name. Anyway, he was saying, he was literally saying that this was an act of dominance. Is it? What does that mean exactly?
Starmer quoting Tommy Robinson as well, picking that up today. Did you see that in PMQ?
I did. It was fascinating to see. It's good to see that Keir Starmer has realised that aping the right wing isn't necessarily winning him any votes. So rather than doing the Island of Strangers stuff, he's now saying that Tommy Robinson is bad, which is it's moving in the right direction, I guess.
But the reason why I was bringing up these points, obviously, when it comes to reform, is because if you've got people, cutting away at the right wing on the reform, there are people who are going more extreme than them, and then you've got the Conservatives who are obviously on their other flank. But then now, even as well, noticeably, the Overton window is moving in many ways with the Conservative Party. That they're, I think it was, as Tommy Robinson said, to quote him, is that the Conservative Party wouldn't have said this 2 years ago, and the Overton window has moved. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I think somebody would have said that. But obviously, it still has noticeably moved in lots of ways. Obviously, you've got the Labour Party who've moved further to the right. So it's almost like I can kind of see reform just getting squeezed a little bit more. It'll be interesting to kind of see where that leads them. But anyway, I could talk forever, but I want to go to the comments. Let's bring in the comments, bring in the producer.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I think, when the new setup, you can probably hear me echoing because we've not done any audio treatment on the second mic. There's going to be teething problems, but this is really exciting that you're in the studio.
I know. It's lovely to be here. We're going to go for some lovely food after this too.
I have to say I'm absolutely starving. But that's not
But
what I want to hear.
Well, it's not. But what I do have to say, and it would have been churlish to mention it during the show. As a proud Northern man, can you pronounce the word class correctly?
Class.
No, I'm referring to Lewis, actually.
Class.
Oh. You said class, and I nearly screamed.
Well, I said that.
Yeah. I know.
I'm transitioning back from London. Okay, it's class.
He's got London. He's got London ways.
I'm going to get a bath tonight.
Good.
And I'm going to have a little floaty boaty in it. Okay.
I think you will start to see your accent coming back.
Honestly, get him an IV drip of gravy immediately.
I'm going back to the mines.
Let's put some comments. I think people want to see that, don't they? Not really Rachel Atwood with $2. Trump is trying to write BB's school sick note. I mean, that's so pathetic to lead on Trump, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very funny that even Trump is like calling up Israel and Israel media to try and get him.
But it's so Trump though, because Trump's been doing this forever. If people remember John Barron, which was a thing he did back in the 1990s, he took his own middle name and Barron, his newborn son's name, and created a fake persona and rang up TV and newspapers to try and get good stories about himself put in there as John Barron. Like, this is the thing he's always done, is seek positive media by wasting his own fucking time. Like, surely you're rich enough to afford a PR team. Why are you ringing up yourself, you cunt? Like, what?
Well, I think it's like Musk when he's like getting soccer accounts.
Yeah. Well, honestly, the more you see of the Epstein class, the more pathetic you realise they are. They're very, very sad, disturbed, lonely, broken people.
By the way, I forgot to mention with the Trump story as well, calling up Israeli media, that then Benjamin Netanyahu did a press conference last week. That's the one with the fingers, where everybody said he had 6 fingers. And he was asked about it, and he was basically like egging Trump on, like, yeah, keep doing this. But he said it in a more political way. But yeah, he called Herzog weak and pathetic and said that he wasn't going to meet with him. It's like high school. He's not going to meet with President Herzog until Netanyahu gets pardoned, and that was by the end of the day, and that was like a week and a half ago. And then he's rang up a few days ago too, as well, basically saying the same thing.
Well, you don't know from one second to the next. He's gone like full schizophrenic at this point. You don't know from one second to the next what he's going to say or what his position is. It's even worse than usual.
He's got dementia. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, his brain is melted. Yeah.
I just want to go through some donors. Michael just became a member.
Welcome.
Steve MC81 gifted turn left memberships. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
Yuri Gibson gifted 5 turn left memberships. And I noticed in here, if I can find it.
Thank you, Yuri.
I don't know if you're still watching, but Martin Abrams, the Green Party councillor, was given a membership. Sorry, my headphones come up.
Welcome, Martin. Hello.
Friends in high places.
I don't know if you're still watching, and has been gifted a membership. Martin has been on GB News lately, taking the fight to the right. We actually played a clip of Martin on last week's show, in which I think it was Nigel Farage was complaining about the family voting thing, trying to make it a scandal when it obviously wasn't a scandal. And Martin he hit the note perfectly when it's to just call these people fucking whingers. And he called Nigel Farage a massive whiner to his face.
Yeah, good.
Of course, because that's true, and we love to see it. Let's get on the actual comments. Michael. He is a massive failed presidential conspiracist, a broken clock and all. This is Joe Kent.
Yes.
He did it on Twitch, actually. Joe Kent. So I don't know much about this person, actually. Does either of you know much about this particular person? He was a failed candidate and a conspiracist, apparently.
Yeah, no, he was a conspiracist, MAGA loyalist, basically, yeah. Like, he's not a good dude. We shouldn't pray and aid his opinions on virtually anything. But unfortunately, as with Trump, because they hold, or in his case held, a position of authority, the things they do and say do matter. However much I don't want to listen to what Trump has to say, he's the President of the United States, so him saying things means that those things matter. However absurd he is, like he's literally now claiming that he predicted 9/11.
Yeah, but that's why this is an important story, right? If he was just a random conspiracy theorist, this wouldn't be a story.
Yeah, exactly.
The same way Tucker Carlson saying stuff every day isn't a story. Well, for some people it is. But obviously, in these circumstances, he is the head of counterterrorism or whatever his official title was. So therefore, it's important and it's a story. And you have to talk about it.
It's so Trump to appoint someone to be the head of counterterrorism, and then when he resigns, go, "Oh, I always thought he was a weak pussy bitch on counterterrorism anyway, dickhead."
Shifty Giza is quoting Richard Tice. It says Israel can rely on Reform UK. This is during his trip to Israel in September 2025. He also appeared on foreign broadcast media. I can't remember which one. I think it was the beginning of this month. When it came to the war in Iran, he said, Israel and America can rely on me or Reform or whatever. We will back them 100%. Massive cucks. I know you guys want me to say the word cuck.
By the way,
I mean,
like this,
go ahead, Kevin. Oh yeah, exactly. These supposed nationalist patriots that are happy for you to go and get your legs blown off in Tehran for Israel. Yeah, thanks.
Love our vets, though, innit? Love our vets.
Our veterans. We need to look after our own, don't we? Yeah.
Jacqueline Jack H says, how many decades has Netanyahu been claiming that Iran is only days away from having a nuke? It goes back to the 90s. Maybe.
I think I've seen him talking about the 80s. Not necessarily about nukes in the 80s, because I think Israel was like building nukes in the 80s. But
they were too busy filming their own.
Yeah, it would have been a bit on the nose. Keep it low. But he's been trying.
I think Israel are the number one people on the nose, though, aren't they?
A little bit. They do take the piss a bit. But yeah, basically ever since the kind of mid 80s. So basically once the Islamic Revolution had sort of sustained itself in Iran, he's been calling for America and Israel to bomb the shit out of Iran. Yeah,
I was just looking up because it's relevant. What Benjamin Netanyahu's secret name was when he lived in the US. Does anybody remember it? He had it was like Benji. It was
LaQuisha Washington. It was a very weird time in his life, I'm just saying.
His fake name doesn't matter, but basically a lot of people might not know, but he lived and worked in the US in the 80s, and there's actually a clip of him. He used to work for the Boston Consulting Group with what's his name, the Florida Senate guy who recently retired from the Senate. He's one of the guys who actually voted against Trump to get him impeached. What's his name? They used to work together back in the 80s. Someone will say it in the comments who I'm talking about. Anyway, he used to have the Boston Consulting Group, which is the same group who came up and helped to develop the Gaza Riviera plan, just FYI. There are clips of him being in TV in the 80s in the US while he was living in Massachusetts, of him manufacturing content against Palestinians, against Iran. He wasn't talking about nuclear weapons back then, but you can go and watch these clips where he's basically saying there can never be a two-state solution, these people are dangerous, these people are extremists. He's been doing this since the fucking 80s under a fake name when he lived in the US. Obviously he lived under a fake name because of issues related to the political class that he comes from. But yeah, this is
he did. If people don't know that, but yeah, he was literally educated. He grew up in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's just American.
Yeah, he's just an American LARPing as a Middle Easterner. Yeah.
And when you hear establishment politicians, even people like Keir Starmer, who say, "Oh, Iran is the biggest threat to the Middle East," they're all singing from the same hymn sheet, which is the same line, which is that Iran is the most dangerous country. Iran has never attacked another country for 5,000 years. Right?
Well, look,
attack Iran. Israel is the biggest threat to the Middle East because they have the Greater Israel Project. They're trying to. Look what they're doing to Syria, Lebanon, Golan Heights, Gaza.
You're making it a very, very good point there, but Curtis, let's try and keep you as backstage. Yeah, the talent needs to talk first, please. Come on now.
Sorry.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
By the way, his name was Ben Natai when he lived in the US. I just double checked. So, yeah, very. I'm sure there's probably a name that's linked to some sort of crazy fucking person with the same name as something. It's probably a reference to something. Also, Benjamin Netanyahu's son lived in the UK as well under a pseudonym as well, just as a fun FYI.
Well, there's loads of there's the kind of the ruling class of all countries tend to be from somewhere else. What do you call it? Dennis Rodman is big in North Korea, right? And the reason for that is that Kim Jong-il the guy who's now the president of, or Kim Jong-un, sorry, the president of North Korea, was educated in Switzerland in a private school during the 90s and would watch NBA basketball, which is quite big in Switzerland. And Dennis Rodman was like the big star at the time. So when he got a chance to invite Dennis Rodman over, they made a big deal out of it. And you're like, he was educated in fucking Switzerland. What? When did this happen? What did the fuck? Anyway, there you go.
Comment from Vicky Klee, and this is about the horrific story number 2. Now, Vicky says, probably accelerated after the first shot hit. I mean, that's obviously a potential thing that could happen. Like, if you're being shot at, you might try and drive away. That could happen, but obviously it does not excuse anything the IDF or Israel did.
No. The thing is, as well, even with this case now, it's been investigated, right? Like, typically, Israel would always try and do whatever they could to not prosecute settlers, especially if there's like hardly any actual video evidence and stuff like that. Usually, they're kind of forced to when there's very clear evidence. It'll be interesting to see if they have body cams. But I think we heard the other story the other day where video evidence doesn't matter. I'm not even sure if we covered it on the show because I missed the last show because I was an appointment and I haven't caught up with it yet. Sorry, guys. But there's obviously the 5 Israeli soldiers who were indicted for raping a Palestinian on fucking camera in prison have all just been let go. So those types of stories, which would be impossible for Israel to not prosecute in the past, they're now doing it. They're now no longer prosecuting these cases where a Palestinian was literally raped on camera, beaten. I believe, if I remember correctly, the indictment showed that they literally put stuff up his ass, not just like actual sexual rape.
Phrase
they put
the phrase that was used, because it was we covered this on Friday on the show, which you'd know if you'd watched it.
Our own confidence.
The exact no, that's fair enough. No, the exact phrase they used was sodomized with a knife.
Fuck. Yeah,
it's absolutely repulsive.
It's a rapist nation. It's a rapist nation. That's what it is. It's a pro-rape country.
I mean, you have protests.
Yeah,
essentially, the protests of the right to rape.
Yeah, they had a riot to break people out of jail who were guilty of raping prisoners.
Well, now that you're saying that, there's a story that again got missed the other day where it's just been released because it was under a gag order that somebody in Netanyahu's office has been under investigation for some sort of sexual misconduct, and the story is about to collapse, and the case is about to collapse. We don't know who it is because the person no longer wants to testify. Just saying.
Oh,
the victim no longer wants to cooperate with the story. That was a story from Israeli media, by the way.
Interesting. Michael again says, and it's a good point, and you kind of made this point, Kevin, anyway, which is that they wonder how people are radicalized after the story last stream as well. Evil Israeli forces. I mean,
well, learn your lessons, lads.
Can't blame these people.
Yeah, like if it. Can you imagine any better recruitment campaign for ISIS than the pictures from Abu Ghraib? You don't need to motivate people to join terrorist organisations when you brutalise, when you make them into the terrorists. That's it. Like I said with those 2 young babbies, if they join fucking Hamas or whoever, could you blame them? Legally speaking, I'm not suggesting anyone join any such group. I'm suggesting if completely independent of anything I say, they happen to join such groups, I couldn't morally condemn them for that.
But Kevin, if you are a pro-Israel terrorist, just like at least 2 Israeli prime ministers that I know of who were officially declared terrorists in the past, they became prime minister. So,
well, I literally mentioned. I mean, it's a kind of oblique and grim historical joke. But when I mentioned the literal cutthroat nature of Israeli politics and mentioned the Stern Gang, it's because they literally slit the throat of, I think it was 20 British army officers during their reign of terror, which founded the nation of Israel. They literally cut the throats of people they held hostage.
Yeah,
and this is the nation that apparently is the moral force for good in the region.
The prime minister, I forget his name. It's like something Begum or something like that. He is the prime minister who became prime minister during the 1982 invasion of Lebanon and
Menachem Begum.
That's it. Thank you very much. He was part of one of the terror groups. It's not Lehi. It's another one who were responsible for the bombing of the King David Hotel, responsible for multiple massacres before the State of Israel was created. And then the prime minister that they elected after that was the former leader of the Lehi group, who was even declared a terrorist group by the State of Israel after it was formed. Then they got pardoned like 20 years later, had streets named after them, and then they elected the former leader as prime minister.
Well, Ariel Sharon, literally the person who massacred the people in Sabra and Shatila, became prime minister of Israel as well. Like they elect murderers.
Yeah. Also, Thatcher met the guy. I always forget his name. The guy who was the head of the Lehi group and then became prime minister. She met him, and it's like he is responsible for literally killing British diplomats back in the day. It's just again just a weird world. But anyway.
Well, I mean, wasn't it like Biden who said, "Oh, I draw the line if Americans are harmed," and then like a bunch of Americans were killed by the IDF, and then nothing happened because the entire tenure as president, he didn't bring up ceasefire once with Trump.
True, but thankfully he's got cancer, so he'll be dead soon.
With Benjamin Netanyahu, sorry, who's got cancer?
Joe Biden.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he had a cancer diagnosis about 6 months ago now, wasn't it? Something like that.
They haven't said anything specific about whether it's, actually maybe we'll get the dirt off Trump because apparently he likes telling people about people's terminal diagnoses.
Well,
I just the clip I'm referring to.
He'll be dead by June.
Yeah, I'd just like to my condolences to cancer for being associated with Joe Biden.
Well, I mean, Biden didn't bring up, despite saying, "Oh, we're going to fight for a ceasefire," he didn't bring it up once.
Yeah, literally, they didn't. At no point did they push back on the Israelis at any point. I wonder why you lost, you dopey cunts.
Don't forget, though, guys, he's an ally now. After he bought a pro-Palestinian book, and he was pictured with it outside the bookstore, holding it.
I think someone was trolling it because he probably had no idea what he had in his hand. Like,
I was about to say, well, yeah, he probably bought it, then instantly forgot what it was, so it's fine.
On to the third story. Dare Sex says he also. And you brought it up. He had said something about Ian Watkins. He literally made a cameo about like one of the most prolific rapists in this country. And he had no idea, but that's the thing. Like, he might have not known that one, but there was a litany of videos which he knew.
He said "up the Ra." There's no way he didn't know what "up the Ra" meant.
So some of the cameos, obviously, yes, he's been tricked into them. But the one that we mentioned very briefly about him supporting a far-right Southport rioter who was in prison for 16 months, that was a celebration of him getting out, and he knew who the guy was and said that I think the quote was something like, "keep doing the right thing," and that was to a guy who was just getting out of prison for being a violent Southport rioter, which he helped egg on.
There are some funny ones they get him to say, though, I have to say. Look, that's how I got into it, because it was just funny to see him get like completely trolled and debated. Was the one about playing FIFA against Mo Leicester.
I don't get that joke.
Mo as in like
say it faster.
Mo as in like either Morris or Mohammed. Leicester.
I thought it was like some sort of football reference because I'm too.
No, it's a fake name
reference.
Yeah.
I lost the comment, but someone said that why is Farage doing these cameos when it's like £80 a pop when he's really rich and he's got all these cheap
he charges like 150.
Well,
also, you're asking you're asking the wrong. Look, you fundamentally misunderstand the greed of these selfish bastards. If you think for a second, look, you could give him £100 billion and he'd still do the grift because that's his thing. That's their entire bit. They don't stop. Bill Gates didn't stop making money. Elon Musk doesn't stop making money because they're just psychopaths. That's why they do it.
Because cameos are 20 seconds. Because cameos are like 20 seconds long. Sometimes, like all he has to do is get his little, PA, whoever works for him, to sit him in a room for like 2 hours on a weekend, just record them all back to back, and just pocket a few grand. That's it.
I mean, like, obviously, when it comes to like capital accumulation, yes, the billionaires are going to want more billions. But like, if you're like a multi-millionaire, why do you care about an extra 150 quid? Maybe. Do you not think potentially that he does it not necessarily for the money, but because he wants to be out there and he thinks it's good for his political career? Like, he's in the normosphere, if you will.
Well, yeah, there's that too, and also just the fact that he loves the sound of his own voice.
He's just a dick, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the great self-publicists in British history. Yeah. And that's part of it. Greed is a part of it. Publicity is a part of it. And just like I say, there's a kind of psychopathic element. Like, I work so that I can live. If I earned £1 million, I'd stop. I don't need any more than that. I'm fine.
You could
right?
say that, but you'll turn into a capitalist. You'll get that money, you'll invest some of it, and start becoming a landlord. And that means we can't have you on the show anymore because we hate them.
Well, all I'm saying is there any evidence that Lewis isn't living in your studio?
Guys, help me. I'm tied up. I'm chained.
Yeah, but also charge you market rate rent, so I'm a good landlord.
And this time it's not willingly.
Okay.
Isami123 says anti-Semitism won't work twice. It won't because obviously the accusations against the Greens. I mean, Rivka Brown did a really good piece as well. Navarra talked about it. It doesn't work.
It's Navarra.
Oh, fuck you.
Anyway, I'm gonna play.
You won't get invited. There is saying heroin and saying naughty.
I keep saying heroin and pointing out that one of their hosts might be a bit of a transphobe. I'm just saying. Anyway, but the point I was making, the anti-Semitism thing, like no one believes it anymore, which in a way is good for us because it means that accusation doesn't really hold the power it once did. But unfortunately, it means that Jewish people are less safe. Yeah. Because actual anti-Semitism is not treated seriously anymore because they're just like, well, you're the boy who cried anti-Semitism too much.
Literally.
And so people just don't fucking believe it, even when it is actually anti-Semitic now.
Yeah, like most Jewish institutions, complexes, buildings in this country have to have like full-time security guards because there are genuine threats. We've seen them; they constantly happen. Everything from the far right, who instead of just actually going just after the Jews now, it's actually I think the last guys. I think they're actually from Leeds. Hello, welcome home. The three guys who were planning both attacks on mosques and synagogues. And this is the problem. Like if you actually track the amount of of these like far right insane people who are doing all this crazy anti-Semitic shit, they're not actually focusing on the genuine anti-Semites because they're so focused on making all of us out to be anti-Semitic, and they're actually moving attention away from the actual genuine danger that is directed towards Jewish people and their communities by people who actually want to hurt them. And yes, that does also include obviously some extremist Muslims too, but in a massive way, a huge threat is the insane far right who don't get as much attention as we do. Like they're talking about Bob Dylan doing a chant in literally the same week as we've just talked about these stories that have come out of Israel.
Well,
right?
look,
like there should be more anger towards that
because fascism has become normalised now. A thing that was an extreme, crazy BNP policy, that of forced paid repatriation, is now government policy under the supposedly left-wing, supposedly social democratic Labour Party. The right wing don't get exposed because the right wing are in power.
Do you know what's the funniest thing about all of it is that the media have spent, they've always done this obviously, but in terms of like the specific woke agenda as they call it, like that built that manufacturing that we are so woke that we want to live happily with extremist Muslims who want to kill us all, that we're so woke that we should give all of our money away to people who are descended from slaves. Like the entire manufacturing of how woke we are and how inclusive we are and how we care about everybody else but us, but somehow we somehow hate one of the most persecuted minorities of the last few centuries. Somehow we only hate them, but we want to have picnics with extremist Muslims. It's so ridiculous that they've managed to successfully spin that story, and now they've almost like losing at their own game because we all want to protect Jewish communities, but it's hard to do that when they're not even focusing on the right type of anti-Semitism.
Well, because they're not focused on anti-Semitism. They're focused like the British Board of Deputies or the campaign against anti-Semitism. None of them actually care about anti-Semitism. If they did, they'd have been all over this Nigel Farage going on about George Soros and the Rothschilds, because that's actually insidious. Like
the AI graphic reform did. Or
exactly. Yeah. That you'd go after actual anti-Semitism that actually exists, of which there are replete examples. But no, they go after like I don't know, Miss Rachel wearing a keffiyeh.
But the thing is, you've got like the replacement theory, which is now a common phrase, which is derived from like anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. You've got Suella Braverman, who is married to a Jewish guy. Was his name Ravi Braverman or something like that? And he's like massively pro-Israel, Zionist, whatever. And she's standing up in Parliament a couple of years ago saying the words cultural Marxism, which is literally again straight from literal Nazi ideology kind of conspiracy theories about the left, aka what they said at the time were Jews infiltrating our institutions and turning people into communists. Right? They literally are the most anti-Semitic people out there, repeating these conspiracy theories which derive from anti-Semitism and then trying to use it against us, but then at the same time calling us anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I do get it. But...
Well, yeah, because again, it's not about anti-Semitism; it's about protecting Israel.
Exactly.
Well, Zionism is anti-Semitism.
Well, indeed, Zionism is a form of racism. Let's be absolutely honest and open about that. Yeah.
100%.
By the way, as you said that, Bezalel Smotrich, the finance minister of Israel, his son was recently injured in a strike. He's fine. But what did dredge up is a story about the fact that when he was getting treated at the hospital, he took a picture with an Arab Israeli and thanked him. Then somebody pointed out that he previously advocated that Palestinians, or Arabs as they call them, and Jewish people should be treated separately in hospitals. That is literal, like, white fucking supremacist levels of ideology. Like, maybe that bridge has been gapped now that an Arab has helped his son, but like that is the level that some people are at in Israel, where they believe they should have segregated hospitals, even for the people who are Arab Israelis by citizenship.
They're ethno-nationalists. They're just Nazis, but they don't necessarily have the same symbols. Like it's the same basic ideology. Ethnic supremacism or religious supremacism or whatever is based on fundamentally a lie, first and foremost, biologically, and secondly, based on the idea of eliminationist and expansionism, ultimately. And that's exactly what we see in the Greater Israel Project, and exactly the kind of evil that is not just, like, we talked about Benjamin Netanyahu in the 80s. He was seen as an extremist in the 80s. He was a crazy, out there fringe politician. And then, of course, the people who were, in theory, trying to do peace were murdered by those extremists, and those extremists are now the Israeli government.
He was seen as an extremist at the time when literal former terrorists were the prime ministers of Israel.
Yeah.
You can't make this shit up.
All right, well, I'll hand it back to you, Lewis. Fantastic show. Thank you so much for the comments and for the donations. But back to you.
Becca just asked who was knocking their mic. I think it's me because I'm not used to this environment. I apologize. But anyway, thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Kevin, for a great show. I always love doing my shows with you because we always find ways just to kind of, amp up the humor a little bit and find some, kind of release from all these awful stories in a way.
Indeed, it's been a heavy one, but there was some giggles in there as well.
Yeah, we have to. But thank you again for joining us, and Kevin will be back with us again at some point. He always is. We love having him here. But thank you for watching Normal Island Live. We will be back on, it's Wednesday today, isn't it? We'll be back on Friday. Obviously, you can continue supporting us at turnleftmedia.co.uk/support if you wish to join us. Please support us. Hope you loved the show. And I'm not sure who's with us on Friday, but we can leave it to a surprise. And we will see you again next time.
Yay!
Oh, the outro was a bit dodgy.
Adolf Hitler. Dun, 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 dun.
I'm not logged into YouTube here. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh, I'm taking my earpiece out when Kevin's still here. I'm like, bye.
That's fair enough. Nice.
First ever person
Kev,
yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you, lads? You
Please
well?
do not say fuck or bugger. Kevin is live.
No, please say fucking bugger. That's essential. That's my entire bit.
Oh, this microphone's like falling down. No wonder it was banging. Like the microphone won't stay up. You're a bit limp. Have you got any what's like a blue pill for a microphone stand?
Blue pill?
Kevin gets it.
Yeah, Viagra or something.
What's that, Kevin?
Oh no, I was just saying Viagra, but yeah, yes.
Needs to be a bit stiffer. Kevin's got lots of experience with
that. Yeah, well, look, I can only get one of my dicks hard at any time, yeah.
Oh, you're always so fast.
It's the only thing I've got going for me. Fuck yes.
Where'd you get your Zoran thing from, by the way?
Well, I got from the internet, but my audience paid for it, and I've got a couple of T-shirts as well. I've got literally the front page of the New York Post with him with the hammer and sickle thing. Do you know that? Remember the famous front page of the paper? They put that on a T-shirt, and I got that. And I wasn't going to get it, but my audience were like, "No, we'll pay you. Get those things." So they gave me the money to go. So.
Oh yeah, sorry, no. Curtis was just saying something to me. We're going to run off, Kevin, because we need to move to a restaurant in the next 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, please do, lads, and thanks for having me on, and I'll see you, whenever.
Goodbye, Kevin, and goodbye, Kevin's audience.
Bye. 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 Well, there we go, chatterinos. What a time to be alive. Hello, Raiders. Although it's both a hello and a goodbye, dear chat, because I am I'm gonna get some food myself, on my own though. So fuck it. Anyway, thank you to Sybil for resubscribing. Thank you to Wayward Historian with 1312 bitty bits. Random number indeed. Thank you to Dingus with 200 bitty bits. Thank you MB22. Oh, fucking kill me. MBT2K. Happy New Year to you and that posh bird. Speaking of which, we might be on with the posh bird tomorrow. You never know. And then Christy on Friday, who's also a bit posh, but not as posh. But she is also a bird. It's fine. It's ironic misogyny and therefore perfectly fine. Fuck yes. Okay, who should we go over to on YouTube? Let's have a look. By the way, did you like my title? I put all different foreign languages and that. Google Translate is free. I'll send you over to the surfs. Actually, fuck it. I'll send you over to the surfs on both platforms because we haven't been over to the Surfy Surf Boys in a while, and Lance is good people. Oh, what have I done there? That is entirely not what I meant to do. There we go. The Surfs. There we go. The Surfs TV. Okay, chap. I will see you all tomorrow. Possibly with a posh bird, possibly not. Who knows? Free Palestine. Free Iran. Free your own mind. Yeah? God, I'm so deep. No pass around.
Kind of like because I mean it's boring. You got to sit through hours and hours of like, you know, processions and
Cabot's fun at the town. Why don't we get Cabot to call cadence? That could be his. That could be his.
What is a cadence?
Right.
Oh my god.
God, this is your practice now. You can do this. I believe in you.
Oh my god.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright. Okay, where are we spawning? Village. Right. Infantry officer. There we go. Right. Sorry about that, gentlemen. My internet decided to shit itself down.
Let me know when you're setting off, Henry.
Right, about to set off. I'll have you at the front here, if that's all right, with Farty. There we are. Right. Ready when you are. Thank you very much, Farty. Fall in. There we are. Let's do this again. Right. Okay, company listening up. Auxiliary, start your... Very good. Right, company, by the centre, quick, march. Go on, Cabot. Call out the cadence for me, lad. This will be your learning experience. Cabot.
Left, right. So I'll take it while I was reaching. Left, right.
Yes, you can do it, can't you, Cabot? Sorry. I do apologise. I forget what I... Permission... Right, detail, fall, out! Right, make a line behind them. We'll divvy them up nicely so they look nice. Right, company! Who's got the fucking horse? Right, company! By the centre! Quick! March! No, right. It's all right. No, right, right, yep. Right. Okay, Cabot, I need you to space them out.